How were you able to balance those moments?
It wasn't always balanced. And this, I'm sure you guys can relate to, right? If you want to be excellent at anything, sports, music, business, politics, there are going to be times in your life where you're out of balance, where you're just working and you're single-minded and for me, when I was running for president, I think I went about a year and a half where I was maybe hope on weekends, and the kids were still small. Michelle was working. We weren't rich, so it wasn't like Michelle could quit her job. So she was carrying a huge load during that time, and which she reminds me continuously. And rightfully so, because she made a lot of sacrifices. Interestingly, by the time I got to the White House, it was actually better. Because the thing about being in the White House is people come to you instead of you going to them. I mean, you live above the store, right? It was literally a 30-second commute. So I set up a rule where I'd have dinner with the family every night at 6:30. And even if I had to go back to work, go back down to the office, I'd come up, spend time with the kids, spend time with Michelle, and then go back down. But, what you start realizing is that they ground you and they give you perspective, and over time that makes you better, right? So I'd be down dealing with some legislative issue, trying to pass Obamacare, or trying to deal with some international issue, Iraq, Afghanistan. Then I come up, and my girls, they don't want to hear anything about that. So I'm sitting there eating dinner, and they're talking about, this teacher who, is kind of cross-eyed, or some kid who, acting a fool, and they've got their own stories, and it gives you some sense of reality and perspective. And that, I think, for me at least, was a good way of getting out of my own head.
Right.
And, I was lucky that Michelle was such an extraordinary mother, and the girls, I think, naturally were just happy spirits that, they still love me after all I put them through. And I will always be grateful for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Love it.
Yeah, but it's not easy, and sometimes Michelle and I, when we're talking to young people and we talk about, their careers, it's still different, unfortunately, for men and women. I think women